Hey guys, Rob here, over here at Great Lakes Reliance. I wanted to talk today about, in my opinion, how important ham radios is to SHTF. Everybody's got their food, water, means of self-defense, and communications. Communications is just as important. And when the power goes out, cell towers go down, and you got no cell phones, ham radio is going to be the only way to get information and make communications. Like, imagine this. You're at home, it's at night, you're making dinner, or maybe you're watching watching YouTube, watching your favorite YouTube prepper channels. Maybe you're watching John from Prepared Mind, or Prepper Nation, or Prepper Now video, or maybe even a live feed from the Angry Prepper. You're watching them, checking it out. You get up to go to the bathroom or something. And then all of a sudden, boom, the power's out. You're like, wow, that sucks. So you sit there for a minute, maybe go upstairs, come back down. You go to call somebody to see if their power's out too. You pick up your cell phone, no service. You're like, wow, that's weird. No cell phone, no service, no power. So then you're just sitting there in the dark. You get your flashlight out. You always keep handy in case this happens. And then half hour goes by, still no power. You go to check your cell phone, still no service. Or maybe you're sitting there, wow, wonder how long this is gonna last. And you're thinking some idiot drunk driving probably ran into a power pole. An hour goes by, still nothing. No cell service, no power. So you get your emergency radio out that everybody should have, and turn on your local FM stations. They're saying the power's out, cell's out. You're like, duh, I know that. But they don't know why. So they're just talking about stuff. Can't believe nothing they say anyways. It's all fake news. Another hour goes by. 4 hours goes by. And you're like, man, my spouse, maybe my husband or my wife, was supposed to be on their way home from work. Haven't heard nothing. Kids are at their friend's house. Haven't heard nothing. Nobody. You're sitting there alone in the dark. And then, yeah, you go to bed or whatever, which you probably won't be able to sleep because you don't know where everybody is or what's going on. Next morning, still nothing. You go outside. If you live in the suburbs like me, your neighbors will probably be out there wanting to know if anybody heard anything or something. Nothing. Then that night comes around. Maybe you start, and it's all dark. Maybe you start hearing gunshots in the distance, sounding like opening day of gun season. You hunters know what I'm talking about. But yeah. So then wow, I have no way to talk to anybody. I haven't heard nothing. Then it hits you. Did SHTF happen? Is it actually here? So you check your food, your water, means of self-defense. You got your sidearm on, but still nothing. I haven't heard anybody. And you're like, wow. All them times when people talked about getting into ham radio, if you had ham radio, I guarantee you that happens. You get on the radio, the bands will be loaded. The repeaters will be packed. There'll be people everywhere. So let's talk about that. Let's get the power back on. Okay, first of all, we'll get the station fired up. I hate these pop-ups. Okay, first of all, I usually hear the same things every time I talk to people around here, or people that are prepping, that about ham radio. Usually they say, yeah, I was thinking about getting my license, but they never do. Or the other one will say, well, I'll just get a radio and then not use it. And then if SHTF happens, I'll just get it out and talk on it. Or the other one is, well, I'll just talk, I don't need a license. I'll just talk on it when SHT happens, they won't care about a license. Number one, you try getting on the air without a license, you will get your ass chewed by other ham radio operators. Even during SHTF, I don't know how they'll act during then, but you will not be able to, they won't take that too kindly. Ham radio operators do a pretty good job policing themselves. And if you try getting on the air without a call sign, you probably get scolded and nobody will talk to you. Now during SHTF, I don't know how that would be. That's how it is normally. But and then working a ham radio is a skill. You got to know about propagation. You got to know about antennas. You got to know setting up antennas. What kind of antennas? You got to work the DSP on the radio, which is digital speech processor. You got to know how to tune your antennas so you don't blow it up. And that's why they want you to get a license. You got to have basic knowledge of radio operations and radio propagation. And I suggest everybody get their ham license. There's 3 levels of licenses: technician, general, and extra. The technician license gets you UHF and VHF. You also get a little part of 10 meters and all of 6 meters. That's HF. But VHF and UHF radios are considered short distance and local. Usually get out about 50 miles to 100 maybe, depending on your antenna system and your radio and how many watts you're putting out. That's going to be good for local communications. That's where you're going to find your local information, and if you need help, you can call somebody. Now HF, that's high frequency. That's long-range communications. You can talk to people all over the world and all over the country. So, and another thing I've been hearing people say, just get a Bofang radio and then, you know, you're all set. Here's the Bofang. Now this radio is what it is. Some people like it, some people say it's crap. It's supposed to be 5 watts. It's really they really only put out 4.5 watts, and it's VHF and UHF. Now VHF and UHF, that is line of sight communications. Now imagine looking down in a river and taking a rock, looking straight down on it and let it go. Now when that rock hits the water, you see the ripples come out. That's what VHF and UHF communications is. That's omnidirectional in all directions, and them little rippers are like the radio waves going out. Now if there's a log or something in the way, in the river per se, what do those waves do? They stop there or try to go around it. So VHF, UHF is line of sight communications. The radio waves go out until they hit something and then stop. Now, if you're out in the woods with heavy woods in a real hilly area, you're not going to get out at all, barely. Now, the only way these would probably be good like that is if you programmed in FRS or GMRS or MERS, which is illegal. But during SHTF, I don't think I'd worry about that. But you and your buddies or your team could program the FRS frequencies. That's Family Radio Service. That's the little radios you get at Walmart. You can program them frequencies, and you can talk to each other, which probably within a mile or less radius. It'd probably work. But as far as that goes, that's all they're good for. Now, where these radios will work good is working with repeaters. Every city and town, they all have repeater towers. They got antennas either up on a hill, up on a water tower, or up on 100-foot towers. They look kind of like cell phone towers. Now, that's a repeater. These radios at 5 watts, you'll transmit here, and it'll make it to a close repeater. The repeater will receive the signal and repeat it, and then send it out farther at a higher wattage. So technically, as long as the repeaters are up and working with this little 5-watt radio, you could get out maybe 10-20 miles. But without that repeater tower, it's not much. Using a Bowfang at 5 or less watts, looking down on that river is like taking a little tiny pebble and bloop, and then you see them little teeny tiny waves go out a little bit and then just stop. Or using a 50-watt radio, that's like taking a big rock and dropping it, poosh, and the waves go out really big and really long. So that's what it is of that. So the Bowfang really ain't no use very good without repeaters, unless you're using them really close within a mile or less. But now what you should get is UHF VHF mobile. Let's see if I can do this here. Okay, this is a Kenwood 721A. This is 40 watts. Now with my homemade antenna, I can get out 50 miles on normal propagation, and with tropo induction propagation, I've hit repeaters over 100 miles away with this. Now in Macomb County, actually in all of Michigan, we have a prepper net. That's on the local national prepper frequency, which is 146240. That's VHF simplex. That means you're using straight communications with no repeater. And you could get one of these, put it in your car, have one at home. Or for HF communications, this is an entry-level radio, the Yaesu 450D. Now with this radio here, I've talked to people in every state in the country except Alaska. That's the only state I need for my All 50 States Award. And I've talked to 40 countries, including Europe, South America. I've talked to somebody on every continent. I've talked to Italy, France, UK, the island of Man, Brazil, Virgin Islands. Let's see, a whole bunch, even countries I never heard of before. I got 2 contacts in Russia, and Czechoslovakia, Slovenia, Slavic Republic, Newfoundland, and 2 contacts in Australia. Now the way these HF waves work is the radio signals for HF, that's high frequency, they leave the antenna, go out of the atmosphere and use the DNF layer around the earth and bounces the radio signals back down to the earth. So you can be way down in a valley, your radio signals go up out of the atmosphere, hit the DRF layer and ricochet back down, bounce back down. That's how you get long distance communications with HF. So I can't get into the super detail of it because the video would be way too long, hours. So if you're interested in getting your ham radio license, go to awrl.org. They're the ones that work the FCC for all the testing regulations. Or just search YouTube out for getting your ham radio license. Now you got to start out with your technician, at least get that, so you can get short range communications going. So, and just to be clear, by no means do I claim to be an expert on this. There's a lot to learn. I got my technician license back in October of 2017. I've had my general license, which is the level 2 license, since March, so I don't even have a full year in on HF. There's a lot to learn, and you never stop learning. And ham radio is a great hobby to get into, and a lot to learn. So, yeah, as far as prepping and homesteading, everybody should get at least their technician license. So, like I said, if you're interested in getting your ham license, go to awrl.org, or just search out YouTube for getting your technician license or starting out in ham radio. There's hundreds of videos on it. It's actually how I got my license. You learn a lot from them guys. So that's my opinion on the subject there. So if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Or if you think it's stupid, thumbs down. Be honest, and leave a comment or a question, and I'll get right back to you. And hit the subscribe button, so when I put out my newer videos, you'll be notified. So this is Rob from Great Lakes Reliance. Hope that helps you out. So until next time, 7 3s.